You got to push the button. Anyways, we are going to get started. And for those wondering, yes, we do video, YouTube channel. We've seen around the world. We have a big audience, congregation in where? What part of Africa? Kenya? Nairobi?
Yes.
In Nairobi, Africa. And we have our podcast. It goes out all over. So, as I come in this morning, I heard some of the Bible lesson, and I heard someone say, "Seek first the kingdom of God." We're going to talk about some of that. From a young age, the world drills into us the message, work hard and make a living. Who knows anything about that? Working hard so you can have stuff. I missed that boat. My daddy didn't get on me hard enough, I guess. I didn't work hard. I worked smart. I drove a truck. I just sit back behind the steering wheel and kill it.
That ain't what your knees say now.
That ain't what my knees say, no. Most people have an unquestionable accepted this mindset, but it reinforces self-reliance instead of reliance on God. When we struggle with the double-edged sword of trying to live up to the world's standard or face condemnation, we miss out on what God promises us. He plans for us to include prosperity and abundance when we trust Him and seek Him first. Listen, one of the things I hate the most is when somebody, they accept Christ and they expect something automatically is going to happen because they were on their knees at the altar and Pastor Freddie was praying with them. Our God is not a microwave God. He's not an instant God.
Right.
You can't go to Him and get something instantly.
Right.
Could He? Yes, He absolutely could. Will He? More than likely not. I've been doing this for 8 years and I am still waiting on a Cadillac Escalade. But I pray for it a lot. A black one with a big sunroof. I'd go cruise the beach.
I didn't know that. I'll add. Maybe that's where we were messing up.
I want to go cruise the beach. That big Cadillac Escalade, tinted windows, so nobody will know who's driving.
People think we're the mafia.
True success only comes from God's favor, which is not something we can buy. We can't buy it. We can't work for it. We can't do good for it. None of that matters. Everything He has given us through His grace can only be manifested by faith. Prosperity should never be our goal. Our goal should always be to seek God. If we're getting into this for prosperity reasons, I messed up somewhere. I should have done what Joel Osteen did, I guess. I messed up. But in all honesty, like I was telling JC yesterday when he was fixing the water, when I prayed, God, I need a building. I need a church building. I never said, like with the shelter, I want to move in a church building. Move in ready. I just said I want a building. Here it is. Paid for it in full. Not only 1, 2, 3. I have 3 buildings. Paid for it in full. Have the deed to all 3 of them. 3 blessings. I can't do anything with the other 2, but I didn't ask for that. I asked for a building. He blessed me with 3. Now, does God have a sense of humor? I'd say so, but I'm not laughing. He is. But we have our water fixed. That's a plus. We have running water in the bathroom and in the ceiling right here and back there. I have to have a roof. What we focus on can either bring good or evil. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, their whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? Matthew 6:22 and 23. It is important to have the right attitude about finances before focusing on God's plan to bring money to us. The issue is about trust, not money. Can we trust God for money? I think so. He created it. It's made of cotton, right? He created cotton. He just needs to plant a tree in my backyard. Freddie, go pick 100. All right. He that hath to be rich hath an evil eye, and considered not that poverty shall come upon him. Proverbs 28 and 22. Listen, there's nothing wrong with having money. I want to make that clear. I happen to love money, but I don't love it more than life. I like having it in all four pockets. I do that to feel good. I really don't. I don't think I put money in all my pockets. I don't. There's nothing wrong with it, but we can't let that be our only focus in life. We can't let money be the only thing that we concentrate on. If we do, we're going to be miserable. Nothing's going to go right. Everything's going to fall to pieces right before us because we set a standard of having this much money, but we're only making this much. So we feel like we're not doing good enough, that we could do better. There's nothing wrong with having money. Nothing wrong with having nice things. I love nice things. The evil eye Jesus referred to in Matthew 6:23 belongs to the person who has made seeking riches more important than seeking God. It happens when our focus is divided between the things of God and getting rich. God says whatever we need, we have. We shouldn't worry. We give strength to whatever we focus on. If we focus on our weaknesses, we give strength to them. Does that make sense to anybody? If we focus on what we can't do, we're making what we can't do even stronger than we are. We cannot focus on what we can't do. We need to focus on what God can do.
Right. Because really we can't do anything.
We can't do anything, not without Him.
That's right.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God, to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. 2 Corinthians 10:4 and 5. We cannot stop birds from flying over our heads, but we can prevent them from making a mess on our clothes. Put an umbrella up, right? Or just stand under the eave. In other words, we have the authority to cast out the thoughts that do not conform to God's will and actively focus on those that do. It's a mind game. Last night I prayed that God just open our minds and our heart, not so that we can be conformed to what we want, but to what He wants for us, for His will to be done through us. The Apostle Paul had the right focus. This one thing I do, forgetting those things that are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. Philippians 3 and 13. If we lay out God before us, then that's what we're going to see. We can't worry about how bad we felt yesterday. You know, I say it all the time. Why is a rearview mirror so small, but a windshield so big? Because what's in front of you is way more important than what's behind you, unless it's a state trooper. And then it's time to pray anyways. We must have a single focus on God as the source of everything good in our life. James 1:17. every good and perfect gift comes from the Father which is above. Amen. Everything comes from Him. If I go and I work, it's a gift. If I go to bed and I can't go to sleep because my brain won't shut off, y'all, that's a gift. Accept everything. I'm fixing to say that. Everything that you say, put this sentence behind it, and that's how I want it. If you say I'm sick, say I'm sick, and that's how I want it. If you say I have money, and that's how I want it. I have a new car, that's how I want it. Whatever is going on, put and that's how I want it. And see how much better your day gets, because then you'll understand that when you say, my life sucks, and that's how I want it, it's nobody's fault but yours. Your situation is completely up to you and your dependence on God. And by saying, and that's how I want it, we begin to realize it.
The power that we have over our own
That's it.
selves.
We have control of how our life goes because that's how we want it. John 10:10, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. God He don't want us to be miserable. He's not a God of miserable. He don't like it. He don't want us depressed. He don't want us sick. He didn't create all that. Listen, we're created in His image. Okay? If we look like Him, shouldn't we act like Him? Is God sick? Is God depressed? Is God broke? Is God hopeless? Is His way hopeless? I don't think so. God's way is the only way. He is the way, the truth, and we must be aware of a divided heart. When we seek God first, prosperity comes as a byproduct. If we say we trust God, but we think we are on our own source, we are dividing our focus. A house divided against itself will not stand. If we trust God because it's Sunday, but come Monday we trust ourselves, well, y'all, we confused. We are dividing our own minds. Now we're dividing our own house and everybody we come in touch with, because we got evil, worldly friends over here, and we got churchly friends over here, and we in the middle trying to figure out who we gonna please. And in the process, we make ourselves miserable. You can't be of God's world and of this world. This world is crazy. All you got to do is turn it on Fox News for 10 minutes and you'll understand. You'll be going to the store to get a bottle. This world is going crazy. I hate what's going on. I don't condone all the rioting. There's no sense in that. Should never happen. I understand there's a lot of hurt in the black community, but when you take that hurt to the level of where they've taken it, you're trying to hurt somebody, so you're making it an eye for an eye. That's not what Jesus says. Jesus says turn the other cheek. But you can only turn the cheek so many times. I get that. Rioting and burning up cities, that's not helping a thing. Martin Luther King changed the world, and he never rioted.
That's right.
He never burned a building. He never done any of
I
that.
like what Brother Joseph was saying last night. Each time they marched, each time they protested, they had an agenda. They went out with the ideal and the process of okay, what are we trying to do with this? What are we going to change? We're not just gonna raise ruckus and, you know, upset everybody. We're going to do this because we want to accomplish something.
Yeah, if you don't think that racism is alive and well, about 10 years ago, Len and I, we lived in Kentucky, and a really good friend of mine worked at the highway department with me. He's a black guy. He had like 32 kids, so we took 8 of these kids to Walmart. Okay, we're white, she's white, anyways, and we're going through Walmart with these kids. I'm holding a little 2-year-old black girl, and I got a little black boy by the hand. Lynn's got a little black kid on her in the buggy. The looks people give, at least her, was incredible. In all honesty, the looks we got, y'all, I've done all I could do not to start a war in Walmart. I got that mad that I almost started a fight in Walmart. It happens. And for the first time in my life, I felt what it must be like to be a black person in America. Everywhere you go, you get weird looks. People think, uh-oh, here comes trouble. There's such a stigma on it. And I'm starting to get it. No, I never owned any slaves. No, my family never owned any slaves. I'm sure my family was probably slaves. I feel like one from time to time. Miss Green worked me like a slave on a plantation. Not kidding. Not really. No, I am kidding. All right. We got to wrap this thing up. I'll talk about anything. Proverbs 23:7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. What we think determines our heart. What we think. Imagine that for 1 second. What you think, that's your heart. What kind of thoughts do you have during the day? That's your heart. That's scary, isn't it? That is scary. Anybody know what 1 Timothy 6:10 says? The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. When you love something, you trust it. When you trust in money, then it becomes the root of your evil. The root of all sin and evil is not trusting God. Proverbs 23:7. There it is. What you think in your heart, that's what you. So, no, I'm not going to say it. We all need heart transplants. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not saying everybody has evil thoughts and everybody thinks bad things. I'm saying, as human beings, it's natural to have a love of having things. Things make us comfortable. Things make us relax. Things make life easy. Well, I'm saying lose some of the trust that you have in these things and put it on having a relationship with God. Religion tells us to ask and you shall receive, but religion don't tell us what you must do before you ask. Before you ask, you need to make sure your relationship with God is just that, a relationship. You can ask all day long, and God just shaking his head because there's not a relationship here. Would you walk up to somebody you don't have a relationship with and ask them for something? No. Most people have trouble asking somebody for a jump. They'd rather sit in the heat and wait on some loved one to come rescue them than ask a stranger if they have a set of jumper cables. Could you give me a jump? So if you don't know God, how can you really ask Him for something? Get to know God and have a relationship with Him. Put your trust in Him and the rest will fall into place. I promise. I'm living proof. I had everything anybody in this life could want. I had a huge house. I lived on an island. I lived on a golf course on an island. How much better can you get than that? You could see the Gulf of Mexico from the top of my house. Still gets better? Yes. We had a huge jacuzzi tub upstairs. We had ceramic floors that led to a beautiful staircase that went downstairs to this beautiful, what was it, limestone fireplace with a TV mounted above it? Flagstone. I can keep going. This house was $250,000 easy. Had a brand new metal roof on it. Had a circle driveway, a fenced yard. I can keep going. We give everything away to start this ministry. $250,000 house. We were leasing the house. We wasn't buying it. The furniture was ours. We had leather, sectional. Lazy Boy had automatic recliners on both ends. I have pictures. It's beautiful. Red leather. Give it away. Give away the big TV because it wouldn't fit in what we moved into. TV was bigger than our camper. That leaked. I prayed, God, you know what? I'm humble. I need something a little bigger than this camper. What I'm saying is, I humbled myself to God for this. I wanted to prove to Him that I'm ready to get into ministry. That I know what it's like to have plenty. I know what it's like to have nothing. Neither one of them make a difference to me, as long as I'm serving Him. And when you serve Him, you understand that the bottom line is this. Love one another the way Christ loves you, the way Christ loves the church. And if we can do that, we won't have a problem with racism. We won't have a problem with people being homeless. We won't have a problem with anybody being hungry. So we're going to ease back into our prayer time and our worship. If you want prayer at any given time, please let me know. I love praying with people. And for those at home, call that number on the bottom of your screen. Somebody will speak with you. They'll pray with you. For those listening on the podcast, that number is 251-421-0894. Someone will answer and pray with you as well. Till next time, we love you.